In February 2004, the workers at Stabilus, an auto parts manufacturer in Gastonia, North Carolina, contacted the United Auto Workers for assistance in forming a union. Over 75% of employees signed union authorization cards indicating their support for the UAW. Stabilus employed an outside union avoidance company and ran an aggressive anti-union campaign.
Felt like we needed a union, but it never happened. They started asking what was wrong, what they needed. They started having round table meetings trying to find out what's wrong with the plant. And even though you would tell them what was wrong with the plant or anything that was going on in a plant, either you would be laid off or you would be gone or you would be demoted to something else. You wouldn't have your same job. And then they would tell us that they would do like they did in Detroit, that they would shut them down, because that's why they shut them down, was because of the union up there. And they just kept on telling us that a union would never be in there, and if they helped us, if a union got in there, that they would move, they would shut that place down, we wouldn't have no job. And every time we tried to have a meeting, they would see who cars was down there and who was for the union, and they would even ask the leads to come in there, who you think's for the union, who you think's not for the union. Once they found out who was for the union, they was gonna find a way to get rid of us. They started laying off the strongest ones until they got to everybody that they knew that was for the union or had anything to do with the union that pushed it, and got rid of them. It was humiliated when we come to find out next week they brought in 35 people to replace us.
You know, we had 80-something% on cards when our election petition was filed, and then we turn around and we lose our election by 2 votes.
The UAW lost the May 2004 election, 244 to 242. The UAW immediately contested the election outcome, but it took the U.S. National Labor Relations Board 6 years to reach a final ruling.
Once we had the trial, I mean, we were told about unfair labor practices, and we documented everything, and we went to court, and the administrative law judge ruled in the union's favor. But then the company can appeal it, and it's been tied up for 5 years. And this company, in the last 5 years, has systematically got rid of every pro-union person. But I will say they did get rid of a lot of anti-union people, but in my opinion, those people were just sacrificial lambs, and the company done that just so it wouldn't look so obvious they got rid of all the union people. I will say I was the last pro-union person in the maintenance department. I was there almost 22 years, but in my opinion, I was laid off because I was the last standing member that was really pro-union, and they knew I was, because I was a member of voluntary organizing committee. I hand-billed, I wore my buttons, I had stickers on my toolbox. I mean, I was out front.
We almost won the election on the first time. The votes were very close, 243 to 245. We was like 2 votes off. We had over 370 some cards signed in support of the union. And then when it came down to it, we lost by those 2 votes because of the dirty tactics that was used at Stabilus to scare people. They used so many scare tactics it was ridiculous. A lot of the meetings that we had to attend weekly, that we were made to attend, it was mandated. We could not even conversate afterwards with them. We just had to come in and sit on these meetings where they degraded the union, they talked so negatively against the union, and they threatened our jobs each and every time.
And a lot of those people in those meetings were, their minds were changed in those meetings for whatever reason. I've seen a lot of people go south because of those meetings. And those meetings, the first couple we went to, we were allowed to ask questions, and then as time progressed, we couldn't ask any questions whatsoever in the meetings. All we had to do was sit there and keep our mouth shut.
And that fear level of closing the plant, losing their job, starting from zero, all these things that the company basically violated were still in these workers' heads.
They could put stuff on the on the wall about it, but whenever we did, they want to bring us to the office, or either they'd have somebody go out there and tear them off, and they would call you to the office and tell you that you're not supposed to bring that on the job site. Go voting for president and other stuff, it was like you had the freedom to vote for who you wanted to vote for. But at Stabilus, it was altogether different.
It made me think back in the 60s when maybe some of our ancestors were going through when they got the right to vote, the intimidating factor that was used there. And you would think in this day and time in the 2000s that this would not happen. Then I think both sides of the coin should be able to present their case. And you should be able to vote free and clear without any intimidating factors. And if it is an intimidating factor, it shouldn't have to wait 6 years for something like this to come to pass. I mean, all the infractions that Stabilus did, we should have been able to get that union vote back in within a couple of weeks, not 6 years later when it's virtually all the people that were there are gone. They made sure of that.
The National Labor Relations Board found that Stabilus's tactics undermined the possibility of a fair election. The NLRB mandated a second election be held within 6 months, but more than a year later, the company has yet to comply.
They had a union vote today, it would fail. It would be unanimous for Stabilus because everybody is scared of their job now over there. They know what happened to all of us. They know what's happened within the last 6 years.
It's very difficult. It will be a huge challenge for those workers because the momentum and the energy that was there in 2004 no longer exists. You know, people are concerned about what took place the first time, and they're unsure if Stabilus will attempt the same thing again. And if Stabilus attempts the same thing again, how long will it take the NLRB to rule this time?
The only fairness in it is to the company, because the company can do anything they want to, and the government's not going to do anything to them. They're not going to, you know, there's really no serious consequences to what these companies are doing to people that want to join a union. But it really needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed and level this playing field, because right now the people that want unions, they're going up against a brick wall.
What happened at Stabilus is not unique. Thousands of such examples involving numerous unions similarly testify to the failings of the U.S. National Labor Relations Board. In the words of one worker from Stabilus, the process is broken. It's very broken.